Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of Hitting Your Stride. Today features Diana Dionisio, who everybody knows as Dee Dee. I have been really looking forward to this episode because even though Dee Dee and I have known each other for about 6 years, I think this is the first time we've really had a chance to sit down and have this kind of conversation. I was introduced to Dee Dee via my Mitchell equine massage business, and I quickly picked up on the talent of this young trainer. So let's get started. Dee Dee grew up in the city of Oakville, which is found in the Greater Toronto area. She started riding at those ever important lesson schooling barns. And once her parents found out at the age of 6 that she had not only the horse bug, but the talent, they got her into a barn where Dee Dee really got to see what was going on and involved in the big A hunter jumper barns. At the age of 17, Dee Dee moved to Twin Homes Stables to work for Sue Fish as a groom. And through lots of lessons and opportunities, Dee Dee, this is where Dee Dee learned all of her great horsemanship skills that she's carried forward with her. Dee Dee graduated from the University of Guelph and Humber College in the study of family and community social services. And while at Humber, she was also a member of the varsity volleyball team. After university, Dee Dee headed to Europe to get some riding experience by landing riding jobs with some very notable riders, one of them being Paul Schockemohl from Germany. She was also a rider at Sportpferd Lemmer. At both stables, she trained horses of all ages and developed them for shows and international sales. Since coming home from Europe, she has managed and taught at Shenandoah Farm Triple C Stables. Currently, Dee Dee is at Ann Audie Equestrian as a trainer and coach, assisting Ann Audie herself in preparing all 31 horses in their barn and their riders. Dee Dee also does freelance coaching. She has also competed and coached clients and attended the Royal many times with many successes. Hey, Dee Dee. I am so thankful that you took the time out of your very busy schedule to have this conversation with me. I know you are a very busy woman, but as we were planning this, it became very apparent to me just how busy you are. And it seems like you have easily 14-hour days. You must have like time management down to a fine art.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot of precise planning to get through my days, you could say that.
Yeah. So before we officially get started, I want to go over why I really wanted to bring you on to this podcast and why I thought the listeners could really benefit from the conversation with you. So first of all, you are one of the hardest working young women I know. You are a quality person with a boatload of common horse sense, which does not exist a lot. And you are very dedicated to the horses that you are educating as well as their people. I am looking forward to seeing where this journey takes you. I think you're amazing. On top of that, you are a really effective rider who works with the horses to obtain these great results. So again, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so let me start by asking you, have you always wanted to be an elite rider in the hunter jumper disciplines? And at what point in your journey did this goal really start resonating with you?
I would say yes, I always had this dream that I wanted to be an elite rider and do it professionally, but almost seemed like it was maybe an almost unattainable dream because the majority of people in the horses, at least in North America, there's a lot of money that goes into competing and the training and all of that. And my family could provide me a certain level of that and help me out, but it didn't really ever feel like I could get as far as some other people just because we didn't have an unlimited budget. So I would say, yeah, it was a little bit more of a empty dream. It felt like at some points, but it wasn't until I would say I was working for Sue Fish at the time, and I was in university, and we were having a discussion one day, and she said, "I don't even know why you're in university. You're going to end up doing this as a career."
Oh,
And
wow.
hear her say those words out loud, it like really gave me the confidence that wow, I can do this. Like this person who I respect so greatly, she believes in me and feels like I can do it. And just to hear those words, I feel like that was a bit of a turning point for me.
Nice.
Um, and yeah, I would say that was the point where I really felt like I really could do it, was hearing that from her.
Good for you. And even though, you felt the dream was quote unquote empty, you still stuck with it.
Yeah, and it honestly, it mostly just felt like it was empty because you get to a certain level to be seen and to get that experience. And I could skim the surface of getting to the level, but it it's really tough to break into that world. But just feeling like someone who I respected so much was really behind me and believed in me. I think that was the turning point.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so based on
That
our conversation, sorry, pardon?
I was gonna say sorry. I don't think she knows that. She doesn't. No, she probably doesn't even remember making that comment.
Aw. Well, maybe she'll have to listen to the podcast and it'll make her day. Oh, so with regarding Sue, then, and in our conversation getting ready for this interview, yes, you did share her importance to you. And, I understand you learned a lot of your horsemanship skills from Sue and how she initially instilled in you that the horse always came first. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about that experience and how learning that has shaped you?
I would say that I always think about how she always put the horse first, and it comes into play when I'm taking care of them in the barn or riding them or just being around them, planning my days around them and their schedule, and when some of them prefer to be ridden versus when they prefer to go outside. Like we have some horses who don't like the cold so much, so I'll ride those ones earlier and then they get to go out in the afternoon instead of the cold brisk mornings. There's it affects me in so many different ways, in a good way. Like just thinking about the fact that the horse always has to come first. Like they're doing this for us and they get nothing it, whether they train hard or train easy, they win or they lose, they get the same thing at the end of the day. So we're asking a lot from them, and it's really important to just respect them as the animals that they are and the feelings that they have and the moods that they have, and not expect them to be machines all the time. So not only just because they're animals do they have to come first, it's our duty to take care of them and take good care of them, but especially with how much we ask them to do, it's important to keep all of their needs and wants in mind with everything that we do
Yeah. So
to
do
them.
you find that as it's obviously made an impression on you and you've carried this forward, do you find you paying forward the message that Sue gave you to the people you're coaching now?
I try to. I try to. And right now, I feel like Anna and I have a really good group of um, clients who they really care about their horses. They really love their horses. A lot of them, they expect them to perform at a certain level because they know they have the ability, but they respect them and they take care of them. They're wrapping their legs after their lessons themselves. They're putting alcohol on their legs on other days when they don't need to be wrapped. They're, letting them stand under the heat lamps until they're totally dry before they put them back in their stalls. They're washing their legs if they're dirty after their rides so they don't have sand in their socks.
Yeah.
They're doing taking care of their horses really well. And we have a new client actually who had came from a full service barn, and she had no idea even how to groom her horse, let alone tack it up or wrap its legs, and we taught her all of that. And even her mom now jumps in. Her mom's brushing her horse with her. They're walking out to the paddock to get the horse in 2 feet of
Oh,
snow.
great.
Lesson. Yeah, it's really nice to see.
Wow. I remember years ago when one of the big team riders I worked for, I heard him say, the horse, in order for a horse to be a special horse, it has to feel like a special horse. That has always stuck
Yeah,
with me, right? So yeah, I think the more we can educate people on that, the better off the horses will be, the better they'll perform, etc. That's awesome. Okay,
that
so
why.
how did this set you up for the training you do today with all the horses you work with? So you might have touched on this a little bit, but like, is there anything that Sue did regarding the training or that she taught you that set you up for what you do?
Um, Stu's approach was very soft with the horses. She never never messed around with the horses too much. It was always like kind of old school, like loopy rein, um, very rhythmical. Everything was one rhythm. So I did carry that forward for a long time. But maybe we'll speak about this later. But after I went to Germany and spent some time there, I kind of molded that style, the very, very soft, kind of old school style with a little bit of the European style. So I, it depends, of course, I kind of do one or the other
Okay.
or both, a mix of all.
Well, it's all about what you learn from different areas, right? It's the, different experiences in life and taking it forward with you. So in the last couple of years of university, you were riding at a barn where other riders were younger, like yourself, with similar goals. During this time, you were finishing off your degree, you were competing in varsity sport, you were riding and spending a lot of time in your car to get everything done. That's a lot to handle for a young woman of your age, but obviously you had a lot of goals. How did you manage to pull it off? How did you work your time management skills at such an early age when I'm sure there were friends that were trying to pull you in different directions?
Honestly, it was very easy for me because everything that I was doing, I wanted to do. I mean, yeah, I was gonna say maybe I didn't necessarily want to be in school, but I did at the time because university is exciting when you're young and you want that experience. So I enjoyed going to class. I had friends in my classes. I had friends on the volleyball team, obviously. I had friends at the stable, friends from high school. So everything I was doing, I wanted to do. I wanted to go ride, and then I wanted to drive to class to attend class. I wanted to go to practice, obviously. So for me, it was kind of easy because even though I was so busy, I wanted to do all of that. So I just kind of stayed focused and stayed on track and went from one place to the other with lots of coffee and lots of.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me the same thing with everything I've got on my plate right now. Like, how do you do it all? And I'm like, I love everything that I'm doing. I'm excited. I mean, I actually found myself a couple of nights ago, I got up to get a drink or something at like 1 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, it's almost morning. I get to get up and like get started on this and the other thing. So yeah, there's definitely something to be said by doing what you love. Um, so what did the playing, see, I knew you played volleyball, but I didn't know it was varsity. So like that really fascinates me. Again, like athleticism, dedication, commitment, that kind of thing. So what did playing varsity volleyball teach you, and how are you able to apply those lessons today, both as a rider and as a coach?
Varsity volleyball, it was such a fun and amazing experience. It was especially fun and amazing because our team was so good. Uh, had the reputation of being a really good school. Humber College had won the OCAA's for when I won with Humber. I think it was like the fifth year in a row or something like that they won, and then they went on to win for another 5 years. They had like a more than 10-year winning streak, I want to say, winning AA finals. So Um, you spend a lot of time with the team, and obviously there's about 12, 13 girls on the team, lots of different personalities, lots of different moods, young girls, lots of issues. Obviously, it's your team, and you stand by your team, and you just learn how to deal with everyone's mood, different personalities. Um, I think learning to be around a group of girls day in, day out is very similar to being around clients day in, day out, because although they might only own one horse with us, some own two horses, but even the ones that own one, they're coming up 5 days a week. You end up spending a lot of time with your clients. And of course, you have to learn to manage different people's personalities, manage yourself around them, I should say, because the way you can speak and act around one client, maybe another client is a little bit more reserved, and you have different conversations with them, and that's fine. Um, in terms of the training, I would say it probably has helped me encourage students to do um, as well as they possibly can do. Like, I learned some things during my time at Humber playing varsity volleyball in terms of mindset and mental training. And I think I apply that without the clients even knowing
Mm.
to my lessons with them, and just conversations with them, encouraging them to do the things that they would like to do and to achieve the goals that they'd like to achieve. And I think just the way I speak to them, they don't even know, they don't know I'm directly doing this, because it seems a little bit indirect. They don't notice, but I'm kind of pumping their tires and pushing them to achieve these goals because I believe in them. Um, I that you can do anything you put your mind to. So if they
That-
come to me like to achieve a certain goal, I can get them there. I feel I can, yeah.
That's awesome. And you know what? Like your demeanor, whenever, I mean, you and I have always had a great, communication and great energy with each other. So it's always been fun to see you and spend time, but you're always very even keeled, which probably has a really great effect on your students, right? And then, with the varsity volleyball, like you said, if you were in a program that won like 10 years in a row, that was commitment to your sport. So, your writing students are able to see that, feel that with you when you're working with them and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty important. And like you said, being able to establish a mindset with them and demonstrate that for them because you've been there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what year was it that you went to Europe?
I think it was 2013 or 14.
Okay. All
I
right.
think
Sorry, 2013?
so, yeah.
Okay. So, with a new jumper in tow, you ventured to Latvia, where you were working with a trainer and planning on spending the summer with your grandparents, who were to meet you there. And as you have some family in that part of the of Europe, and you were going to spend the summer with them. But unfortunately, as you shared with me, your grandfather was having some health issues, and they couldn't make it. So there you were in Europe on your own with a new horse. Did this sudden change of plans affect you and your mindset at the time? And how were you able to adapt to the unexpected change of plans?
Um, yeah, I was really looking forward to spending that summer with my grandparents and just being immersed in the culture firsthand, with them there, because I actually went to Latvian school from kindergarten to grade 8 every Saturday. So I already knew how to speak the language. I had traveled there a couple of times with family when I was younger, but I was forward to spending that summer there and just really taking it all in. So it was more disappointing than anything um, that they weren't able to make it. But I just put my focus into the horses and really just trained hard with the horses, and I was got super fit because I went to the gym all the time. So I just put my focus into the sport. I went and watched a lot of horse shows. I attended a lot of horse shows, and I just tried to soak up that side of it. I still made a lot of friends from Latvia, and I got to learn a lot about the culture and see it and experience it, and that was a lot of fun. But for the most part, I just focused on the horses and just being really, really fit and being able to do a really good job of riding and learning and spending time at the stable.
Nice. So I mean, obviously it was sad your grandparents couldn't join you, but you never felt like, oh my goodness, I'm alone. Like you just kind of refocused and pivoted and away you went.
Yeah, because I made friends at the stable too. So I'm pretty social, and I can get along with pretty much anybody for the most part, I would say. So yeah, no, I didn't like feel like I was alone or anything like that. I enjoyed it, to be honest. It was a really amazing experience.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, I'm a firm believer when your plans change, there's a reason for it. And you took an opportunity, you made an opportunity out of this, which probably was a really good start to establishing your European experience.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
cool. So, how did you end up getting the riding jobs with Shockmole and and Oliver Lemmer?
Yeah. So I was riding in Latvia at the time, and this this trainer, he's a Portuguese guy. He was a rider at Paul Shockmola's stable, and he came to Latvia to do a little clinic, I think, and to teach a couple people who he had somehow met along his travels. So when he was coming, the one girl said, "Oh, this so and so is coming. Do you want to take a lesson with him?" And I said, "Yeah, for sure. I'd love to. Like, that'd be such a cool experience." So he came to my stable and he gave me a lesson, and he just said, "Oh, like, I think your style is really impressive. I think you ride really well. You should try to come to Shakamal and get a job there." So literally, like, the next week, I was on a plane to Germany. So I flew to Germany, stayed there for, I don't know how long it was, like maybe 5 days or something like that. And just went to that stable, did a little trial day. They just put me on a whole bunch of horses. It's funny how they do it. They just put you on something easy at the start of the day, and then they just see what you can handle. They watch you, and they just progressively give you different horses to see if you can handle the different issues that all these horses have, and figure them out and see how you handle them, really, is what they're looking for. And then, yeah, at the end of the day, they offered me a job. So then I flew back to Latvia, packed up my horse on the trailer, and then we went to Germany and
Wow.
got that one. And then um, I got the job with Oliver Lemmer. It was the same kind of idea. I just was connected with him through a friend that I made, who she said, "Oh, I know somebody that's looking for a rider. You can contact him and see where it goes." And yeah, so that's how I got that one. I
That's
went same
great.
there, tried the horses. He liked my style, liked how I rode. It was um more southern in Germany, so it was a different area. So it was nice because the first stable was in a very much like a country bumpkin kind of area. So there wasn't a lot to do, but there were so many riders there that it was a lot of fun. Everybody hung out, and it was great times. But the other place was near a big city. So that was nice. I got to experience living closer to a big city and seeing what it was all about.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of being very easygoing and going with the flow, and not afraid of change. Like, there you
Yeah,
go. Here's an opportunity. Okay, I'll take it.
yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. So, was working at these barns a real eye opener for a North American, especially one who's young and just getting started?
Yeah. So much different over there. It is so much different. The type of riding is different. Um, the sport in general is different. Honestly, they really look at it over there like a sport. It's very much something that you can only have access to it if you have quite a bit of money. Over there, it's a lot more affordable. You know, you go to the horse show and it's like €10, like $15 to go into a class. Like your whole bill is under $100 Canadian if you were to convert it. So it's totally different in every aspect. The style is different. They focus so much more on the flat work over there. Um, yeah, it's completely different. It was totally eye opening. Also, just the level that the riders are at. Obviously, there's riders of every level, but just so many good riders, so many good riders. The young riders there, I went over when I was about 23. Um, the other riders that were at the stable, some of them were as young as 19. They'd already shown in so many of them had already shown in Grand Prix as young riders. They've done so much already at such a young age. So I think just the way that they bring up their riders there, they have a bit more opportunity. They get a little farther ahead because it's a bit more affordable. So they end up having, because of that, a lot more quality riders and a lot more educated riders. Here it's just so expensive to get that education and get those good horses to jump at that level. So it's a lot tougher here.
Wow. Yeah, that really puts a highlight on, how exclusive the equestrian sports can be, that's why I thought the part of your bio was really important about, you getting started at those lesson schooling barns, because, there's not a lot of them out there that can survive and, that lead to now riders like yourself. So they're definitely important.
They
Um,
are.
did you find the European experience like, because like I know when I was younger, I had an opportunity to go to Germany to ride with a dressage rider, a dressage trainer. And I didn't go. Life took me in a different direction. But talking to people that had been there, it was really challenging. Like they almost kind of worked the North American students just a little bit harder than they did the European ones. So like, can you share with us an experience where maybe you felt a little overwhelmed and or overly challenged at either of those barns?
Yeah, I can. So um, when I when I first got the job at Shakamola, about 3 weeks in, you're riding so much, right? Riding tons of horses. You're riding all day, morning until the evening, and I literally, my body was just could not handle it. It was not used to that type of work. I got welts on the inside of my legs. I'm not joking you. Yes, welts up and down my legs. That it was summertime when I started working there, so they would pus and swell and burst, go through my breeches. I would have crusties on the inside of my knees that I literally had to away from them to get them detached. It was awful. So my body honestly was just not used to that type of riding. Like connecting with the saddle like that was a different thing for me. So my body was not used to it. So I would say that was definitely challenging. I remember because they always wanted you sitting trot, sitting canter, stay connected with the horse. So I remember the trainers would all stand in the middle and congregate there, and they'd watch the riders ride around. Because at Shakamal, there's so many riders. It'd be 20 people riding in one sand ring at a time. The sand ring was huge, but still, it was so busy. Sometimes more, sometimes 30 people riding in there at a time. But anyway, So they'd all stand in the middle, and then I'd look over, and if they weren't paying attention at this time, I would just go up into my half seat and take a little break for a second, canter along past behind their back in my half seat. In front of them, I'd sit down. I just was so sore. My knees were in so much pain just because of all the riding. My lower back I found was really sore. But yeah, so that was challenging.
Was
And
there
yeah,
was there any mental challenge? Like, did you think, oh my God, like I can't do this?
I loved it. Just my body, it felt like my body like couldn't keep up. It almost just felt like my body just wasn't used to what I was asking it to do and the way I was asking my body to ride. I was used to riding just loose and soft and in my half seat all the time. And then there's, like I said, the opposite a little bit. You're sitting trot, you're sitting canter. Everything's super connected, riding a little bit more like they want you riding over there a bit more dressage. Um, so yeah, it was just different. But the second part of that question was that there a time where I felt overwhelmed or
Well,
faced.
yeah, like just wondering if you felt like overwhelmed or challenged. I think
There
yeah.
there was actually a specific time with a horse that I felt for the first time, I think it was for the first time that I ever felt like afraid of a horse. Um, the sun is blinding me. Hopefully it doesn't bug you.
Okay.
It doesn't. Um, yeah. So the girl whose position I was taking over, the previous rider, I didn't know this when I started, but I had already been riding there. We had an overlap period. So it was like her last 2 weeks I had started. So we were both together in the same barn, but she had never explained what had happened to me about this one specific horse. They just said, "Oh, you ride that one." Um, anyways, it turns out that the horse and we really got along, and the head rider was saying, "Oh, I feel like this horse just really likes your style because she likes like that hunter, really soft ride, not asking her too much, just everything really soft and light." And then I learned one day that she had flipped over on the previous rider and knocked her out and broke her leg. And right when I heard the story, I thought, oh my gosh, because she's afraid of head on traffic, which I hadn't experienced yet. And no one had told me that yet. So I guess the horse had done this to the girl. And it was like, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I can't show this horse that I'm afraid that it's going to do that to me now. Like she can't know how I feel. But the horses, they know, they sense it. It literally was my very next ride. The horse started testing me. It didn't want to go to the ring. It would stand up on its back legs, like out of nowhere, but not out of nowhere, because it was as soon as I learned that information, I knew deep down I was a little bit afraid of this horse that it was going to do that to me. And yeah, so I felt a little bit overwhelmed at that point.
So how did you mentally get past that?
Well, I learned how to deal with that, which was pretty awesome, because now if I have horses that threaten to go up or they go up, I have ways to get around that. So I basically I learned how to deal with the issue. And that's how I got past it. But I never enjoyed riding that horse after that time.
Wow, yeah, that would definitely have you on the edge of your seat, so to say. Well, okay. So, what was a really empowering experience you had at either of these stables? One, well, and perhaps maybe it was combined with that horse, one that left you realizing that you were a really capable rider.
A very empowering time. I I don't know if there was like a specific um moment, but I could just feel there that the trainers, for some reason, I don't know, but they really liked me and they liked my style. They told me that they really liked how I could combine a North American style with a more European style. And most of all, they would very often comment that I had a good eye, which I had heard that before. Like I'm I have a good eye, and they all commented on that. Yeah, I would say that it was empowering just to be like a North American young rider, just going over there. Really, for me, I thought I was going over for the experience and to learn, but I ended up getting this purposeful job at this place where I'm being looked at like I'm a very well-rounded rider. So just feeling that from them, I felt that that was really empowering.
That's amazing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, that sets you up. I think that is probably what sets your trajectory.
I think it did. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so after your experience in Europe, you came back home. You accepted a job as a head trainer at a local stable near your home. 2.5 years later, you were offered an assistant trainer's position at an A circuit stable. And now you're training and coaching out of Ann Audie Equestrian. So looking
Mhm.
back over the past 5 or 6 years and seeing where you are now, what can you say that you have learned the most about yourself?
Um, I would say that since coming home, I have the I've learned that I'm really good at teaching, which is funny because when I was over there, I did no teaching at all. But I think because of the detail that went into the riding there, and the detail of the flat work and everything over in every stable I was at over there was just so precise. I feel like that made me more aware of everything that I'm doing on top of the horse. So I feel like in the last 5 years or so, I've learned that I'm a really good teacher. I feel like I'm very detailed. I tell the students exactly what to do with, I feel like, every part of their body in every moment. And it makes them a lot more aware as well of what they're doing.
That's amazing. So your talent has been to experience and then like literally transform that. So it's almost like you said, you're almost in the saddle with them. You can see what's
I feel
going on. Yeah.
I feel like first for them sometimes.
Yeah, feel like you're riding it for them. Yeah. What are you, one of those instructors that when you're teaching, you're walking around the arena the whole time?
Yeah, I'm usually walking. I'm two pointing with them. I'm all of inside leg, my inside leg's going, you know, all of it.